Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host, Emily. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I hope it's about to get a hell of a lot better with this episode. So, I always like to do a little bit of an intro of these episodes. I had to just press record because I've actually written up a lot of notes for this episode. Okay, I was thinking, do I do it in two parts? And then I thought, no, because people just press pause on a podcast and then they listen to the second part. What I will say is, if there was one podcast episode that I would recommend to take notes on, it's probably going to be this one. Because as you can see by the title, we are going to cover as much as possible on resistance training that you need to know. Okay, whether you are a complete beginner, this is going to be great. Whether you've been going to the gym for years and not getting results, this is going to be great for you. Because as I said, I've written down some notes, and you know what, I'm probably going to finish this episode and be like, why didn't anybody talk about that, or why didn't I talk about that? So maybe there'll be like what you call like a follow on, a sequel. But for today's purpose, we're going to try and get through as much as we can. Okay, a little bit of, again, pre history on this episode. I actually originally wanted to do this as a webinar type thing with pictures, videos, and you know what, I just haven't had time to do that yet. Maybe I will in the future, but I didn't want to sit on it any longer because I feel like it's really needed. It's needed for the average woman going to the gym. I just see it too often. Too often I'm in the gym and I literally see women there and I think, I wish I could tell them this, but I would never go up to anyone in the gym and say that. I'm telling my clients like the same points over and over. Or we're going into, our group coaching, Fit in Six. This is going to be vital. So here we are. God, I'm really baking it up. It best be bloody good. And hopefully it is not going to be a repeat of last week where I was struggling to breathe. I actually feel a bit better today. So let's start from the top then. What are the benefits of resistance training? Why should we be going to the gym? So, you know what, before we even get to the why should we, let's cover why we probably are listening to this podcast. Okay. We're probably listening to this episode today. A couple of reasons. So maybe we've been going to the gym for a while and we're not noticing a difference in our results. Okay. Maybe we've been going to the gym for years and we're just doing the same thing because we don't know what we should be doing in the gym or what we're changing to. Maybe we are wanting to start resistance training because we know that it's good for us, but we just have got no clue what we're doing when we get there. Okay, so a couple of things on that then. From a physical point of view, let's cover why we should be training and then we'll go through mental. From a physical point of view, resistance training is, I'm going to really be specific with women here, okay? Because men and women are biologically different when it comes to like muscle growth and stuff. So as women, we do start to lose muscle mass, okay? Especially when we're over the age of 30. Now, guys, annoyingly, I didn't do the numbers for this, but just bear with me. I'm sure you all trust me anyway. But we rapidly start to lose. I'm pretty sure it might be like 1 to 3%. That might seem extreme, but I'm pretty sure it might be extreme. Of muscle mass, like, per year. You know what? Can I pause this? Can I pause? Oh my God, she's trying to edit for the first time. No, we're not pausing. So let me just, because I can't find the pause button. Right, guys, let's just have a little look, shall we? Because I'm really interested. Muscle mass decrease women, decrease with age. Okay, here we go. So it's normal for people to lose muscle mass. This process can begin at the age as early as age 30, with people typically losing 3 to 5% of their muscle mass, okay, per decade. My years were a bit off. But I know this is more prominent in women as well. Okay. So not only do we need to actually physically work at holding on to more muscle mass, but that's not just from when I look in the mirror point of view. This is from a health point of view, okay? The more muscle mass we have, the healthier we are going to be, the stronger we are going to be, the less risk of, postural dysfunction we're going to have. We're going to roll with that, okay? all of these things, if we're stronger, we are going to be better. And if we are getting to the age of 30 and the life hand is against us, we should be resistance training to keep that, to keep our muscle mass up. Okay. Next point on the physical side of things. Are you training because you want to look better and you're not noticing the difference? Well, I'm going to burst that little bubble. The looking better thing, the fat loss thing, here's how I describe it. The workouts are your stimulus. The food is the building block, okay? You need both to change your physique. You can't just do one without the other. So as a coach, I used to offer nutrition only, training only. Now I don't do that, okay? I only offer, if someone comes to work with me or if they join the Fit and Six, we are covering both because both are important. We know that we need to stimulate the muscles through exercise to change, to break down, to repair. But then we know that the high protein, good quality food diet is going to support that repair and recovery and that shape change, okay? You have to have both, okay? You have to have the stimulus and you have to have the building block. So you've probably heard the phrase, or you've definitely heard me say the phrase, you can't out-train a bad diet. You can't just go to the gym and not look at your diet and expect the results to come in, okay? You might drop a little bit of weight here and there due to calorie expenditure going up, but it's very rare. Most of the time, and if you listen to this, you go into the gym, people quit the gym after 6 months because they say, do you know what, I went all the time, it didn't work, and so I'm not going. Okay, which leads me on to my next point. Stop training for sole physique purposes. Even if it's the majority of why you're going to the gym is to look good, please don't let it be everything. Okay, it'll get boring pretty quick, fucking really quick. Okay, you should be going to the gym to train. Well, number one, to train for life, for a fitter life, a healthier life, like we've covered, a healthier body, a stronger posture, stronger core, all of these things which we know increase our longevity of life now. I'm pretty sure, again, I say these things on the episode because I don't think about them when I'm writing my notes up, but I am pretty sure that I have recently read, if there is one habit, whether it's changing your diet or exercising or all of these other things we know improve our health, the one that has the biggest impact on improving our health is exercise. I'm pretty sure I've read that study somewhere very, very recently, is that if you are going to change one thing, first of all, they're saying exercise is going to have the biggest impact. That doesn't mean join a gym, eat shit, don't go to sleep, be stressed out. It doesn't mean that. It means that the first and foremost, the exercise is going to be the one that has the biggest impact on you. So yeah, how powerful is that to understand that even just going to the gym is going to help improve our longevity of life, our quality of life. So I'm not against you going to the gym, training to look a certain way. I do that. I want to look strong. I want to look toned. But at the same time, it's not my all in everything. It's a nice little saying, isn't it? All in everything. I train because I know what it does, and let's go on to this one then. What it does for me mentally. Wow. I am more hooked on training for the mental benefit than I am the physical benefit. 1,000,000%. I am a gym junkie because of that mental relationship I have. Like, I bumped into someone in the gym the other day. If we're listening back to this podcast, I'm currently 33 and a half weeks pregnant, just for reference, but I'm going to keep the pregnancy out of this podcast because I want it to be one that people listen back to. But anyway, someone came up to me in the gym and they said, God, you mustn't have long left now. And I said, oh no, like 6 weeks, whatever. And he said, God, what, why are you training? Why did you train for? He was genuinely interested. And I said, the gym has been my constant in pregnancy. Like, it's been the one thing that I've relied on to make me feel better. Now, that's in pregnancy, but that can be anything. That can be at any point of your life. You're going through a breakup. You go to the gym because you know that when you leave the gym, you've done something for you, you've had that outlet, you've got that endorphin hit. Like, that might be your constant going through a breakup. You're stressed in work. I've got clients who have really, really, really high stressful jobs, but they go to the gym every morning because they're pouring into their cup before they go and pour into everything else that they've got to do. Okay. So mentally, Oh, the gym for me just absolutely trumps any other benefit that it does for you. And I genuinely believe that people, I genuinely believe that if we pushed physical activity and resistance workouts and gym workouts more into our society as the norm and shouted about these benefits more, I genuinely believe there would be a dramatic decrease in people on medication to support their mental health. I'm not saying there isn't a place for that, because there absolutely is. I think there'd be a dramatic reduction in it if the first point of call wasn't, let's put you on this medication. The first point of call was, let's get you in the gym, let's get you doing some physical activity, or pairing them together. Again, golden. I'm not saying one without the other, but I absolutely believe that if you are feeling, and I've seen it, I believe it because I see it. If you are feeling down, you've gone through a life event, menopause is a huge one. Huge, huge, huge. Oh my God, look at my hands. Menopause is a huge one. People are getting offered medication without looking at their lifestyle. What do we know happens in God? Why I'm going off on menopause? But what do we know happens on menopause? Massive decrease in muscle mass. We know that. Mood absolutely can be all over the show. We can feel so disconnected from ourselves. Like, we know all of these symptoms of menopause, but we also know the vital impact that women who are having menopausal symptoms who exercise, how dramatically more positive they feel or manage these symptoms than someone who doesn't. So that's another podcast to talk about. But so we've covered the physical aspect, we've covered the mental aspect. Just to touch on, I've sort of covered this, but like the fat loss side of things, if you're going to the gym to fat loss, I'm just going to call it straight now, you're looking in the wrong place. Fat loss is literally a food, it's a calorie deficit. The gym can help minutely by creating, like I said, that bigger energy gap, but that is not why you should be going to the gym. You should not be signing up to a gym if you want to lose weight. Your focus needs to be on food, steps, water, stress, and sleep. That is the combination for fat loss. Okay. The gym, as we've quickly spoke about, is, so much more. I've spoke about that so much more than I wanted to. Okay. The only thing I would say about fat loss that helps with workouts is there have been studies that show people in a calorie deficit who don't do who work out, and people who calorie deficit who don't work out. The people who were working out in the calorie deficit found it easier to stick to their diet than the people who didn't work out. So that is a positive, that if you are going to do a diet, you might want to think about working out at the same time to help you stick to that diet. Right, that is enough on that. Are we going to talk about that in a second? Okay, tell you what, let me just finish this point. Tell you what, like you're literally on your edge of your seat listening. Let me just finish this point, because this should come at the end, really, when we've covered everything in the gym. But what I do want to say here, just to wrap up this intro, is the biggest difference that you will see on people, let's say you are in the gym and you want to be more toned, you want to lose weight, like you are going for that physique, okay? Because this point is about physique, right? You want to have that fitter, more toned physique. And you see people and they are on Instagram, on social media, and they are saying they are eating 2,000 calories, 2,500, 3,000 calories, whatever. And they look super toned, super fit. They don't look like they're carrying a lot of body fat. And you are thinking, what the F? How is that happening? Trust me, that is happening because they go to the gym. They train correctly. They train with intensity. We're going to cover all of this. That is going to be the difference. Oh my gosh, I cannot emphasize this enough. Of you not living off stupidly low calories for the rest of your life, okay? If you want to eat higher calories, you have to be training and having that energy output higher as well. And so when you see people with their six pack saying, here's what I eat in a day for 2,500 calories, and your mind is fucking blown because you're on 1,200 and feeling like you're 3 stone overweight. Trust me when I say the two options. One, genetically blessed with a real high metabolism, okay? Always an option. But two, they train hard. And they're not fanning about with the ones and twos in the gym, okay? So let that just be the intro after we've gone through all of this. And the reason I'm doing this webinar is it's not a webinar. I want to do a webinar, it's not. The reason I want to do this episode is to highlight that, is that how you stay in good shape and stay toned is you train hard. Right, let's get into the training aspect then. Like I said, I've got my notes written up on my other screen. So if you see me going to know, if you are watching this on YouTube, hey ho, you see me kind of going over. So the first thing we're going to cover is exercise selection. Okay, so order of workout, exercise selection. What should we be training, or what does that mean when we're in the gym? So exercise selection, a little bit self-explanatory. It means the exercises that we are doing when we go to the gym. Okay, order of workout is this important. So if you're writing down your gym workout, which hopefully listen to this, you are, rule number one of going to the gym, having a plan. You don't go to the gym and do willy-nilly. You know what exercise you're doing, on what day you're doing it, and you repeat that. Okay, I feel like I didn't want to go that basic, but I feel like I need to, because I want to just cover everything. So rule number one, have a plan. Okay, you should not be rocking up to the gym willy-nilly saying, what do I fancy doing? Say, what's free? Okay, you have to have a plan. We're going to cover this when we go to progressive overload. But basically you need a plan. Okay, because you need to be tracking your workouts, you need to be repeating your workouts. We'll talk about that in a second. So when you're doing your exercise selection and you're writing, whether it's on your phone, whether you've got an app that you're following, whether you've got a coach who's coaching for you, but you should not be rocking up to the gym. And listen, this is going to be a warning, right, for those of you who've got PTs. If you are turning up to the gym and your PT says to you, what do you want to do today? Save your fucking money. That is not training you effectively. Okay, that should not be something that comes out of a PT's mouth. That is bad coaching. I'm going to call it. It is, because to get stronger, to get fitter, we need to be doing repetitiveness. We need to be repeating these exercises. This is where I always say about, if you haven't listened to the episodes about me saying about going to the gym versus going to classes, and why you'll get better results in the gym versus classes, because classes are focused on fitness. We change exercise all the time. Fitness isn't necessarily reliant on repetitiveness. Okay, it's reliant on getting your heart rate up. So whereas getting stronger is relying on repeating exercises. So yeah, if you have a PT and you turn up and you go, oh, we did this week and we did that last week, no, run. Okay. Exercise selection, God, how are you still on point one? So picking out your order of exercises is important. And then let me explain that, and then we'll follow on order of workout. So exercise selection, it's important because you don't want to, do all your massive lifts or your big, heavy energy requiring lifts in one session. So if you think, what are the most important exercises that we do when we're in the gym? Well, we want to do a squat movement, we want to do a hinge movement like a deadlift, we want to do a pressing movement, think shoulder press, think chest press, we want to do a pull movement, so think pull-ups, rows, lat pull downs, but a lot of these movements can be working multiple muscle groups at one time. So you don't want to be going to the gym and picking 6 exercises of full body movement that you've got to work really hard on, because you'll be fucked. Okay, so we want to be picking a couple, 2 to 3 big exercises per workout, and then some accessory stuff, which is where we're not using all of our body to do that exercise. So if you think of smaller exercises being a leg curl machine, a leg extension machine, a bicep curl, a lateral raise, all of these smaller accessory moves, we want to be doing some of them with the bigger moves. Okay, so you pick your exercise selection first, then you have order of workout. So this is how we tie this in. So your order of workout, I had someone ask me, does it matter when I go to the gym if I change up the order that I'm doing my exercises, or should they be done in the same order? In an ideal world, they should be done in the same order, okay? Because that means you're going to do your biggest energy requiring movements first, and then the exercises that require a little bit less energy, they can go last. So if you think you rock up to the gym, right, 100% energy, battery is fully loaded. And on your exercise plan, your first exercise is a deadlift. Big, big move, lots of thinking power required, lots of muscle mass required, lots of different muscles required. So you want to go into the deadlift with 100% energy and, mental energy as well. But say you go in and the last exercise on that day is bicep curl, but you go into bicep curl first and you use 100% of that energy smashing out biceps, working this really small arm muscle. And then you have to go and do deadlifts last. Your weights, your form, your technique, your effort on the deadlift is not going to be what it was if you started with it first. Okay, so order of workout is important, but what's more important is getting through the workout. So I appreciate, because I speak to my clients, sometimes you can't do the exact order of workout the same every single time. So if you have to swap, let's say you've got your 3 big moves first and your 3 accessory moves last. If you have to swap around your 3 big moves first because you can't get on a bar, but you can get on the leg press machine, say, then do the leg press machine over the other one. Okay. Let's just say you're meant to do back squat or something. Okay. Swap, like, it's not the end of the world. It might show up differently as you're tracking your weights, like the week after. If you normally start with a leg press, but actually you have to do it third, that might show up, but you know what? That's okay. Because what's more important is you get through the workout. So just remember, try not to do your smaller movements first. Try not to do your bigger movements, and ideally stick to the same plan. But if if something happens and you can't, it's not the end of the world. And it's especially not the end of the world if you need to swap around the order of your smaller exercises, because they don't require that much energy or thinking power. Right, so exercise selection, order of workouts, we've covered that. We're now going to do like a little sub of training splits. Okay, so what is a training split? You may or may not have heard people say, I'm training legs today, I'm training chest today, I'm training back today. That's a training split. Okay, other types of training splits, you've got push, you've got pull, and then you've got push-pull. So this is where, for example, a push workout would be a pushing movement, whether that's with legs or arms. So it might be a variation, a combination of back squat, lunges, chest press, shoulder press, using them muscles that are involved in everything that we do when we push, and then the opposite for pull. So think about the movement of a deadlift. It's pulling the weight from the floor. That would sit into a pull workout. A lat pull down, get it. Okay, so you can subcategorize your workout into push, pull, push, pull. You can do full body 3 times a week. If you're getting the gym 3 times a week, I recommend full body split. Okay, if you are really trying to get stronger in your legs, okay, it's quite common with women, isn't it, these days? I mean, not for me, because I hate training. Not hate, that's powerful, but like, I don't love hammering one body part. I like doing multiple. But women want to work on their glutes. Okay, really want to work on your glutes. So a lot of women will train glutes in their workouts every session, and then accessorize it maybe with like glutes and arms, or glutes and shoulders, or glutes and back, or something. So they're really trying to hit their glutes as much as we can. But yeah, training split is just a fancy way to say, like, how have you structured your workouts for the next 8 to 12 weeks, or however long your training plan is. Okay, that was quite an easy one to cover. Just want to touch on, because I don't know if I have on that. Let me just touch on when I said training splits and goal training splits. When you're doing your training split, when you're deciding, what do I want to focus on this workout this workout period, which is like I said, it can be anywhere from, like, I would recommend minimum 8 weeks. And then if you're loving that program you're on and you're still getting better at it and still find it challenging, there is really no like end cap of when you should change your workout. Again, that's the thing for me. When should I change my workout? We don't have to change your workout. Like, the baseline of all your workouts is always going to be the same. Like I said, you're probably always going to have a squatting move, a hinging move, a pulling move, a pushing move. Like, you can't really change a back squat that much. You can't really change a deadlift that much. Yes, you've got slight foot variations, hand position on bar, but it's the same movement hinging from your hip. So the base of your movement is always going to be roughly the same. So when people say when should I change my workouts? This is my advice, right? You should change your workout. This is when you should change them. Where's my camera gone? Woo! Focus. Number one is if your motivation drops, okay? Because if your motivation drops, you're not going to the gym anyway, because you'll be skipping workouts, or you'll be turning up thinking, I fucking hate this workout, and putting in 10% effort. So for me, I always say to my girls, my clients, I always put I do a training block for them. And when that training block, whether it's 8 or 12, depending on, because I know my clients, what they will decide, we have a call and I say, look, how are you finding your training at the moment? Are you still motivated to go? Are you still enjoying it? Are you still finding it challenging? And if they say yes to all of them, then we extend it. We don't need to change it. None of this fucking shock your body bollocks, okay? It doesn't work. Your body responds to adaptation, progressive overload, repetition, okay? Which we're going to get to, so don't worry if you're thinking I still don't know what that is. We are going to cover that. But yeah, so changing your workouts, if you're lacking in motivation, yes. If you're not feeling challenged, yes. If you've been doing it for longer than, like I said, minimum 8 weeks, but maybe 12, 16 weeks, then yeah, change a few things up in it so you feel refreshed and re-energized to think, okay, new workouts. That's what I always do. If I always feel like I'm a bit bored, I'm not loving it, I don't look forward to going to the gym, I will tweak my exercise selection. Okay, so we've covered training splits. Let's get into the actual workout then. So what does it look like? What type of warm-up should we be doing before we get into the workout? So I always recommend, if you go into resistance training, ideally, and I say ideally because time is a big factor in here, ideally 5 minutes cardio to get your blood flowing, okay, pumping around your body, just 5 minutes of anything. And then I always recommend to do a bit of mobility, because you want to make sure, again, what the type of movements that you're doing, there are a lot of, it's moving that range of, it's a word I'm saying, that range of movement in your joints is becoming bigger. So you want to make sure that you haven't gone from sitting at your desk for hours doing nothing straight into a big lift, which is requiring massive movements in your joints. Okay, so I always recommend 5 minutes cardio of anything, and mobility to get through, warm up the joints you're about to work. If you're lacking on time, at least do the mobility, okay? Ideally, never get into the gym and jump straight onto a machine, because you're not going to be warm, you're not going to be mobile, and that is potential for injury, okay? So 5 minutes of mobility, you can, maybe I should do that. Actually, I've got a nice mobility routine. If anybody wants a mobility routine, just drop me a message on Insta and I will send you a link so you can follow mine. But again, you can just follow them on YouTube, dead easy. So secondary warm-up then is doing warm-up sets. Again, this is a big one which I see people missing out on, is that what you need to understand about your training is that we have something called a warm-up set and a working set. So in your training plan, if you have written down, I'm going to do 3 sets of 8 to 12 back squat. That means when you first step up to that rack to do your back squat, you ideally won't be going in and being like, right, 40 kg on the bar, that's my first set. Okay, you don't really want to go straight into your working sets. You want to warm up so then you can lift heavier. So that might look like, so if you've set 8 to 12 reps on your, we're going to talk about reps and sets in a second, but if you set yourself 8 to 12 reps in your training program, you want to make sure then that you're probably doing a couple of sets before that you're warming up to that weight. So if your first working set is 40 kg, maybe you do 8 reps at 20, and then maybe you do like 4 or 5 reps at 30, so you're building up to that weight, and then you're going at 40, and that 40 is when you do 8 to 12, and that's your first working set. Okay, that's important. And again, this doesn't take that much longer, but it's just understanding how to get the most out of your workout. Is you ideally don't want to be going from 0 to 100%. this is where I feel like a lot of women as well probably don't push themselves in the gym. We're going to talk about effort level shortly. Is that they just get on the machine, they pick and they go, yeah, that feels like, I can feel it. And they just do it, and then they just sit there, and then they do it again, and they get off, and they haven't really put that effort in. Whereas you want to ideally be doing a bit of a warm-up set, and then you want to push yourself, because you're warm, you're reducing that risk of an injury, you're optimizing yourself to be pushed to move more weight, okay? So warm up then, 5 minutes cardio, mobility, and then you want to be doing warm-up sets, okay? Now, your warm-up sets don't have to be done on every single exercise. I would just do them on your big exercises, because by the time you get to the smaller exercises, then muscles are going to be warm anyway. Okay, so big exercises, warm-up sets. Right, let's cover, again, quite basic, but let's just cover reps and sets. Okay, so you've just heard me talk then about reps. So this is, I always find as well, doing what I do and having done this job for so long, everybody always gets reps and sets mixed up. So reps is short for repetitions. Okay, how many times are we repeating that movement? That is your repetition. So your set is how many groups of repetition we're doing. Again, I said before, I gave an example, back squat, 3 sets, so 3 groups of 8 to 12 reps, 8 to 12 repetitions in each group. Simple? Well, I say simple, but if you've always got mixed up with reps and sets, that now you know, that's it. Okay, so we've covered reps, repetitions, we've covered sets, how many groups. Some more language that you may have or may not heard around the gym are things like supersets. So a superset is where you do 2 exercises back to back. For example, you might do back squat for 8 to 12 reps straight into a kettlebell swing for 15 reps. Straight in, no break. And then you'll have your rest. And then your second superset would be your back squat straight into your kettlebell swing. Okay? The benefit of doing this is time, is if you're short on time and you want to squish your exercises together. The other benefit is really overloading a muscle. So if you were doing your back squat, a heavy back squat, but then you went into body weight lunges, that's obviously going to really tire your legs out and push your legs to work into the maximum effort. But you can work it as, like I said, opposing muscles as well. So I just used the example of a back squat and a kettlebell swing. So back squat is going to work quads and glutes, and your kettlebell swing is going to work your hamstrings and your glutes and your core. Okay, so working like opposing muscle groups, or you could do a superset with an upper and a lower exercise. So back squat with press ups. So while you're doing your press ups, your legs are getting a bit of a break, but you're saving time. Okay, then we've got trisets. So trisets, hopefully the clue's in the name, is 3 exercises back to back. And then you've got giant sets. I don't really use these, but giant sets are any more than 4 exercises. I would call that a circuit. I don't think, you wouldn't be able to like heavily lift if you're doing 4 exercises back to back. But there you go. At least you understand now. Superset, tricep, giant set. Okay, so we've covered reps, we've covered sets. We're now going to talk about range of movement. So, okay, we're gonna head in this section as technique, okay? Because then we'll talk about range of movement. So, technique is incredibly important when it comes to resistance training. Okay, I don't care how much you can lift if you've got shit technique. And when we talk about technique, we're talking about a couple of different things. So we're talking about posture in the movement. We're talking about the safety of you doing the actual exercise. We're talking about the range of movement you're getting in that exercise. We're talking about the tempo, which we'll cover in a second, of you doing that exercise, okay? All of them things come under technique, and technique beats load every single time. About 90% of the people who go to the gym need to hear that. Technique beats loads. Because how many times have we been in the gym or seen someone in the gym and we're like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, I can do one more. And, we know that it's bad form. We know that we're not hitting the full range of movements in our arms or our legs, but we're like, yeah, but I moved 100 kg. Yeah, but your technique was shit. And my clients will vouch for me on this. They will send me videos and be like, I got a PB. And I'll be like, oh, no, you never. Because their technique wasn't right. Because it is pointless. It is pointless moving load if it's unsafe, if it's not in the right range of movement, if you're not using your muscles in the right way that they should be used, or they're going to benefit from being used. Okay, so let me just move on the little subtitle then, subheading. By the way, since just one moment on pregnancy, sometimes words come out my mouth before my brain can compute them, and I really hope it's not happening that much on this podcast. But I just said that then and was like, blah, 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 Right, so subheading of technique is range of movements, as I said. So range of movement's really important, okay? Because the more range of movement we have, the more we're going to use the muscle in that exercise, okay? Let me give you an example. And we're going to use squat because we've been quite consistent using that. And ideally, when we do a squat, okay, a full squat would be when you are coming down into your squat position, your hips break parallel with your knee. So that means your hips are becoming lower than your knee, okay? So many people struggle to do this, so they don't. And that's probably because they don't warm up or do the mobility. But if you are coming down, so if we've got standing up position and then full squat down is your hips breaking parallel with knee. If you're coming down to your hips that are just above your knee, you're only doing 50% of the movements. That means you're only using your muscles 50% of what they're capable of. Okay, so from a technique point of view, what we should do is lighten the load of the squat that we're doing and work on our technique to get lower. So we are using more muscles, okay? We are benefiting from doing that exercise a lot more than just doing half a rep. And that applies to a lot of exercises, okay? Thinking about overhead shoulder press, so many people, and if you're watching this on video, great, but if you're not, bear with me, I'll try and explain it. So many people will do an overhead press, but their arm, I don't even know what degrees that is. It's more than, so if that's 90 degrees, 45. Yeah. So let's say some people will only extend their arm up to and leave a 45-degree angle. Again, missing out on using your shoulder muscles to their full potential. So when we look at technique, range of movement is really important. Leave your fucking ego at the side. Nobody cares what weight you're moving. It's more impressive that you move properly. And that's what I always think in the gym as well. If I ever am seeing someone train, I very rarely look at the weight that they're moving, but if they move well and they have body awareness, good body awareness, that impresses me. Really impressed me. I said this funny story. Said to Ollie the other week, I had to tell him, we trained at the same gym, and I said, oh my God, I'm pretty sure this fella thought I was hitting on him. Big old pregnant belly woman. He was doing the hack squat machine, and it was fabulous. It was fabulous because, again, I'll be honest, men have less mobility than women, so they tend to not do good range of movement or full range. They can if they work on the mobility, but men, sometimes just lazy and don't. Anyway, this guy was on the hack squat, and he was going to full depth, and his ankle mobility was lovely, and just his form was so good. And I was sat opposite him on the machine, just staring at him, and he clocked me. And I was like, oh my God, so sorry. I was just admiring how good your form is on that. And he was like, thanks. I was like, yeah, you looked really good. You can imagine me proper going in. And he was like, thanks. I was like, okay. And then I just rang Ollie and I was like, oh no. And then I'm going to see him in the gym and he's going to think I was trying to hit on him. But anyway, so form / technique is the same thing, right? Very impressive. So yeah, you want to focus on that first. A little, again, following on for that, something I was debating whether to touch on, but I think it's important to touch on, is your passive and active range of movements, because we've talked about range of movements. It's important to understand this. And don't worry if this does go over your head, but it's something I bring up with my clients a lot, and I thought, why not share it with you guys? Passive and active range of movement is when we are doing certain exercises when we're doing exercise with weight, that's all we're talking about. Passive and active range of movement is when we've got the weight in the exercise, right? And we are either in control of the weight or the weight is controlling us. This is going to be really hard to talk about without demonstrating, but we'll give it a go. The most common exercise I see people do this on is the lat pull down machine. Okay, so arms overhead, squeezing your elbows into your waist, using your back muscles. Okay, because what we normally have to do to get that bar down, we have to reach up. Okay, this is pulling our lat muscles, our back muscles into their passive range. That means it's coming out of where we're in control, and then the weight is controlling us. Okay, now I know that. Let me carry on with that movement, and then I'll touch on what I was just going to say. So, when you are in active range, that means when the bar is being pulled to your chest and you're pulling the bar, you are in your active range. You are in control of that weight. But what I see people do a lot is they let that bar come all the way up, and then they let the bar pull their arms up higher than they would be able to actively do it. And that's the difference between active and passive. Okay, so I see a lot of people training in passive range, which means they are letting the weight control them rather than them controlling the weight. Now, what I was just going to say is some coaches, I think, do say to go out into passive range. I personally don't, from a safety point of view. I would rather my clients always be in control of the weight. And this is where I feel like people can go wrong in the gym, is that they don't actually understand between passive and active, and they're going into passive range on every exercise, which is causing overstretching their muscles, overstretching the joints, which is where injuries occur if we're not aware of that or not in control of that. So that's just something to be aware of, passive and active range. So again, if you think about doing the chest press machine, sometimes you have to really reach your arms behind to get your hands into that position. Well, your hands has gone into passive range, okay? You don't want to let that weight on that chest press pull it all the way back so it's stretching and overloading the joints. You want to keep your hands slightly above your chest so you're in active range of movement. You're in control of the weight all the time. Okay, get some really good coaching points here, girls. But yeah, that one, if you want to just let that go over your head, you can. Okay, next one then is tempo, timing of exercise. Really, really important to understand that faster is not better. I know it feels better because you're like, I fucking hate this exercise, so the quicker I do it, the quicker I get it over. But unfortunately, that's not going to work. Okay, and this ties into what we were just saying about technique. Form and technique first. Okay, if you are doing an exercise fast, how are you even thinking about what you're doing in that exercise? How are you giving time to your brain to compute? Okay, I need to pull my core in, roll my shoulders back. I need to breathe. Like, you need to think about that on each rep, right? But if you're being rapid, getting these exercises done willy-nilly, you're not having time to go through that checklist. And if you're thinking, yeah, but if I don't do it quick, I'm not doing it, then there's your clue. You need to lighten your load and go for form and slow it down and tempo. So tempo, as I said, is the speed that we're doing the exercise. And we are talking about resistance exercise. I'm not talking about burpees and squat jumps and all stuff like that. When it comes to resistance, we want to have good tempo. We want to be doing the movement. Not necessarily, it doesn't have to be slow, but it has to be controlled. Okay. And sometimes, the majority of the time, to have control, we need to go at a slower pace. Okay. So we want our tempo to be controlled, that we're in control of the weight. We know our technique is right. We know our posture is right. We're thinking about what muscles we're using. Okay. And something that a term that I use a lot with my clients is time under tension. Okay. So time under tension means how long is that muscle working for? Because the longer it's working for, the more load we're putting through it, the harder it's working, the bigger the benefit's going to be. Okay. So like I said, when we talk about tempo, it doesn't have to be really like mega slow, but we want it to be controlled. We want to have that time under tension there. And that is part of you getting better at that exercise. Okay. Tempo we're going to talk about very shortly when we go into progressive overload. We're nearly finished on the workout side of things. So we've covered a lot. We've covered range of movements. We've covered tempo, timing of exercise. We're now going to talk about effort level. Oh, this could be a whole other episode. Effort level, failing, reps in reserve. Let's cover this. So one of the biggest downfalls, and I mentioned this at the very start, is why you're not progressing in the gym is you are not pushing yourself enough. You are not pushing yourself to the point of where you are getting to that end of that set, that then last few repetitions, and you are not thinking, I'm not sure whether I can get another one out here. Or you are not thinking, thank God this is my last rep because I need that break. Okay? If you are not getting to that point, you are not pushing yourself far enough. You are not going to get the results that you think you are going to get from going to the gym. Okay? So a couple of things when it comes to effort level. The first one I've just covered, okay? You should be getting to the end of your set. Let's say you're 8 to 12, okay? Progressive overload, I'm going to cover that. I just had a thought. So you should be getting to the end of your set, whatever that rep range is, and thinking, if someone made me do more reps, I could probably only get two. If someone had a gun to my head and was like, do more reps, I could probably only get 2 or 3 out to save my life. If you're not thinking that, you're not where you need to be. Okay? If you are getting, like, let's say I set you 8 to 12 reps and you're going and 10 and 11 and 12 done. Woo! I like that exercise. Like, no, so sorry. That is not what's going to move us forward, okay? You don't have to be crying. You don't have to be swearing or, swearing or crying. You don't have to be doing any of them, but you do need to feel challenged. You need to feel like my arm is shaking. Or, just to cover what we said about technique, you need to feel like, I think I'd lose my technique if I had to do another few of them. Yeah? That's how you know that you're working at that right effort level, okay? You need to not be afraid of failing a lift. So if I said to you, right, babe, we're going to do 8 back squats at this weight, your initial thought should be, whew, that's going to be difficult. Not, okay, fine. Okay, because we know we're not pushing hard enough. You then need to not be afraid that if I said we're going to do 8 and you got to 7 and was like, piss off. There's no way that my bum is going lower. My bum ain't moving on rep 8. It can't, okay? That is fine because we have then established, okay, so maybe that weight was a little bit heavy. We can pull it down a little bit and work on getting your reps up a little bit higher. But this is training. This is what it's all about. It's finding where your limits are and working with them and pushing them. And this is what I was saying, like, people who go to the gym and quit the gym because they're not seeing results physically are not doing anything that I'm talking about in this episode, because everything I'm talking about in this episode is making the gym more than physique based. It's about chasing strength, about chasing technique, about improving your posture, about feeling better in yourself, chasing more than just, oh, look at the shape of that muscle, So effort level and failing, not being afraid, okay, and pushing yourself. This comes with practice, but it is something, and this is where PTs can be handy, right? Is that PTs can push you to a point because they're with you, they're in person. They can push you to a point where you're like, I couldn't have done that on my own, but then with that PT pushing you, telling you to do it, you're like, oh yes, I can. You can then go and train on your own and know that you can do it at that level. So I've just recently, on Sunday, we did a gym day. It's where I get all my clients, we go into the gym together and I show them, this is how you should be training. This is the level that you should be training to. They then go off on their own and they can take that into their own sessions, okay? So that's where they can be handy. So yeah, effort level, failing, it's huge, it's massive, and it's also huge and massive of not getting results if you're not pushing yourself to that effort level, okay? Right. Reps in reserve are RIR. That just means what I said about having a gun to your head is that you don't have to train to failure every single set, okay? I don't want you crying, I don't want you swearing at every single set. But you can judge this by sometimes, I don't use this, I find it quite, I don't know, I just don't use it. But it is quite a common thing is that people will say train to 2 R&R or 3 R&R. And it just means push yourself to the point where you've got 3 reps left in you on that set. Just a bit of knowledge for you. Okay, and then we've got rest times. So we've gone through literally every stage of what we're going to do in our set here. And then rest time. So you've completed your set, you've pushed yourself, you've got to the end. Your rest times again are really, really important. Okay. So number one, you don't want to be having too short rests, because that means if you think about your workout battery being 100%, you do a set, your workout battery goes down to 50%. Okay. You want to be having a good amount of rest time, which we'll talk about in a second, a good amount of rest time to let that battery level come back up before you go again. If you do set 1, have 15-20 seconds break, and then try to do set 2, you're not giving your body enough time to recover to fully get the potential out of that set. So how long rest should be having? I would say, for me, I think that on your big lifts, so remember at the beginning we spoke about big lifts first, accessory exercises after. Big lifts are very person dependent, depends how big you're lifting. But I would say anywhere between 2 to 5 minutes between each set. Okay. That I'm talking about your heavy back squat, your heavy leg press, your heavy deadlift, all of these type of things. Yeah, 2 to 5 minutes. The 5-minute one, if you're thinking what the actual F, that's going to be more to the competitive athlete side of things. But I think if we're just going to the gym and we are pushing, we are going to that failure, we are, really pushing that effort level, 2 minutes is not a fucking long time. You should be mentally prepared. That 2 minutes is broken down into minute 1, recovering, minute 2, mentally preparing yourself to go again. Okay, I'm thinking about when I do deadlifts, okay? But again, time it. Put a timer on your phone. I do that. Press my clock watch, go. When it comes to accessory stuff then later on, it can be anywhere. It can be 60 seconds. I would never say rest any less than 60 seconds, but it can be 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It's very person dependent of how much you're pushing yourself. Okay? That's what it's dependent on. If you are if you're doing set 1 and 30 seconds into your 60-second rest, you're thinking, I'm fine, I can go again. What does that tell you? That tells you I haven't worked hard enough, because you should need that rest. Like I just said about the deadlift, to me, 2 minutes, minute 1, recover, minute 2, mentally prepare. Okay? That's how you want to think about your rest, is you should need that rest. There's no, I don't need rest, I'm fucking solid. No, that's not a good thing. You're not doing well in your workouts if that's your mentality. You're not pushing yourself when you are working. Okay, 53 minutes of me talking. Wow. We're not over. It's not over yet. I'm still here. All right, so let's talk through then. So we've gone through everything in that little section. Thank God I made notes, right? Exercise selection, training splits, sets, reps, warm up, range of movement, technique, tempo, effort level, and rest times. We're now going to talk about progressive overload. This is very, very, very important to wrap your head around. I touched on it on our intro about not rocking up to the gym doing willy-nilly exercises, okay? Progressive overload is what will lead to your adaptation of your workouts to get physical results. Now, when I talk about physical results, I don't just mean physique, I mean strength, power, posture improvement, all of this, okay? Your body has to go through adaptation. It has to adapt to the exercises to get to the point that you want it to get to. It can only adapt through repetition, okay? And repetition comes down to progressive overload. So we don't just want to be doing 5 exercises every day. The same 5 exercises, the same numbers, the same weights, because we're not moving forwards. That's not progressive overload. Progressive overload is repeating the same exercises, but we are progressing them exercises via, ready? Getting better at technique. Okay, that's a form of progressive overload, is getting an improved range of movement, is getting better at controlling your tempo. Okay, so that's one form of progressive overload. The next is time. Okay, time under tension. Remember, we touched on this. So if you can do slower in your exercises with more control, also progressive overload. You've then got your weight. So incrementally increasing the weight up each time you do an exercise is progressively getting better. That's progressive overload, okay? You've then got your reps. So remember before I said, say I gave you 8 to 12 reps. This is a big one, actually, people don't really get their head around. That 8 to 12 rep range is there so that you can work between it, so that you might have, let's use easy numbers, right? So you might say, right, I am going to do a back squat with 50 kg and my rep range is 8 to 12. Well, on the first time of doing that exercise, you might only get to 8 reps and think, wow, there is no way I could do another 2 reps, 3 reps on that. Or if I could, it would be a real big struggle. And I know Em wants me to, work at 2 reps in reserve or whatever. So then the next week you come back and it's back squat and you look back at your notes and you go, right, last week I did 8 reps at 50. I'm going to progressive overload this workout. I'm going to try and do 9 reps at 50 this week. So you set yourself up, you do your warm-up sets. You're like, right, okay, 50 kg on the bar, let's go 9 reps. And actually, you surprise yourself and you do 10 reps. Wow, okay, go me. So the next week comes and you go, right, I'm going to do 11 or I'm going to do 12 because Em's rep range is 8 to 12, okay? So you go in. Bear with me, this is going to be golden for you. You go in, you set yourself up, you do all your bits that we've covered, you smash out 12 reps on 50 kg that 3 weeks ago you could only do 8, okay? You are buzzing, but then what do you do? Because your rep range is 8 to 12. Well, then you put more weight on. So you go to 52 or 55 and you drop your rep range back down to 8. So you have definitely improved because we're doing more weight, but your reps have come down. Maybe you get 9 reps out, okay? But you're pushing forward through weight or through reps. You're not pushing forward through both. So you shouldn't be, doing, let's say you got up to 50 kg or 12 reps. You then wouldn't do, well, I'm going to do 55 kg and get to 60 reps, or 55 kg and get to 12 reps again, and then do that. Like, it's normally one or the other, okay? But that's how progressive. That's how you work your rep ranges. Is you want to start at the lower end, chase the weight. Once you hit the weight at your top end of your reps, the weight comes back down. It's like a really fun game, okay? But that's how you train. That's how you want it to work, okay? So like I said, so progressive overload is technique, time, weight, reps. I wonder if there's anything else. Weight, reps, sets. You can add an extra set on. Quite time consuming, but you might do. Sometimes you will get to a point where the weight won't go up. You won't be able to get more reps out, and that's where you have to progressive overload by maybe saying, well, maybe I can get another set out then at this same weight at these same reps. Okay, but unless you are following progressive overload, girls, you are literally not going to get the results that you want. This is a non-negotiable of what you need to be doing to let your body adapt to the exercise. Okay, if I could highlight a part in this episode, it would be this part: progressive overload. Now, the majority of you listen to this who are going to the gym who aren't getting results, you will be like, holy shit balls, I have not been doing that. Okay, now I don't want you to take this as a negative and for you to think, what a waste of time, you just didn't know. But now you know. I guarantee if you can progressive overload over the next 8 to 12 weeks, you will get results compared to what you've done in the last 6 months. So, progressive overload, done. Last little bit. We're going to go over an hour. Last little bit though. Rest days. How much rest time should I be having? So we're going to cover this in 2 parts. We've got rest days and we've got a deload. So you may or may not have heard people use the terminology or the word, I'm having a deload week. This just means that if you have been following that progressive overload and your weights have gone up and your reps have gone up, you're just having a week where you bring your weights down a little bit, you take the pressure off, you let your body recover. Okay. If you are really strict with your training, deload weeks are important to do. If you are making sure that you turn up every week and that you are pushing yourself, pushing your weight, then yeah, you will do a deload week. These normally run anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks. But what I will say, I find that deload weeks will naturally occur in your life. So that means that you might have a week where you're a little bit poorly. You don't train that week anyway. You might have a week where you go on holiday, or you've just got a busy social calendar and that week your training takes a little bit of a hit. These normally show up about every 3 months. Okay. So you don't need to stress out about, I haven't had a deload week. The likelihood is they're naturally occurring in your life anyway, but it's good to understand what they are. And yeah, so basically a deload week. But again, a deload week is pulling your weights down. But if you go on holiday for a week and don't train with the intensity, you're going to come back, you're going to feel refreshed, you're going to feel more motivated, you're going to feel excited to get into the gym again. It's important that we do have these times where we either deload, so we pull our weights down, or we just have a rest week. And maybe we just do things that we don't normally do, like rock climbing, swimming, walking, cycling. We stay active, but we just give our body a rest from the gym so it can rebalance, and then we come back fighting. Okay, so that's deload week. Rest days then, talking about the days in the week, obviously. How many times a week? So first and foremost, that's myth bust. You do not need to work a day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off. Okay, you don't need to do that. You can structure your training plan to make it work for you, that you might do lower on a Monday, upper on a Tuesday, then you might have a rest Wednesday, and then you do full body. Okay, you don't have to have a day on or a day off. My training at the moment is I train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have 2 days off a week. I have a Wednesday and a Sunday. I say that sometimes I go train on a Wednesday if I want to. Okay. I would recommend 1 to 2 rest days per week. And yeah, be active on the other 5. It's important for us. So yeah, that's rest days covered. Okay. Where are we? So the last thing then I just want to touch on. Oh, something I missed out, by the way, on technique is filming yourself. Really good way to track your technique. It is not vain. It is there for self-improvement. So that's good to be aware of. And I would always highly recommend it. And that's going to come into the next point that I want to make, which is confidence in the gym. We did a whole podcast a couple of weeks ago on anxiety and confidence in the gym. Girls, if you just have to remember that confidence in the gym comes with time, comes with repetition, comes with showing up. Okay, it comes with habit. Yeah, how confident are you at cleaning your teeth? Pretty fucking confident. It's because you do it every day. Okay, it comes with confidence, and there is no real magic thing I can tell you. All I can say is just focus on the bigger picture, like we said in the intro. It's more than physique. It's about your health. It's about longevity. It's about committing. This habit has no expiry date. Yeah. Going the gym doesn't have an end date on it. It's something we're going to do now, hopefully for the rest of our lives, our fit, healthy, strong lives. Okay. That is the mindset you need to be in when you sign up to the gym. You're signing up to the gym, like we covered, for fat loss, for physique. Fuck me, you'll be gone. You won't see the end of the contract because you'll get bored. Okay. And that leads me into the last thing that I'm going to say, which is timing of results into the gym, whether that is chasing strength. And if it is, and again, I want to be dead clear, it can be chasing physique, but you just need something else alongside that as well. But regardless of what it is, you need to commit. There is a reason, and I've said this on the podcast, but I'll say it again. When people work with me, I say to them, 6 months to a year, that's the timeline we're working on. Is that okay with you? And if they say, oh no, I want it in 3 months, I am not the coach for you, because I am not going to fucking lie to you. Okay? Because 6 months to 12 months is where you're going to see the combination of doing your nutrition, going to the gym, transform your body. But you have to commit. You have to be consistent. Can't be willy-nilly. You've now got everything you need to know about training and about what that journey looks like to go and put it into practice. But yeah, timing of results and expectations, you have to be consistent for them 6 months. You have to show up when you don't want to show up. Okay. You have to be putting in place the effort, the planning, okay? And it becomes easy, it becomes habit, and most of all, it becomes enjoyable. That's what you're chasing it for. Don't give up on your gym journey or your resistance journey until it is enjoyable, because you'll end up starting again. You'll never get there, okay? Not every session you are gonna be excited to go, but every session, I guarantee you will be so glad that you went. Every single one, you will leave that gym and you will be like, I am so glad I did that. And that's why people like myself, who are 20 years into their resistance journey, we still do it. We still show up now. It's because, not because we love every single session, we want to go gym all the time. It's because we know that every single session that we do, no matter how big, how small, we leave and we're like, so glad I did that. Okay, so just remember, girls, that joining the gym and going through a resistance journey is a lifelong thing. You want to be tapping in and be like, there is no tap out now. Okay. And I know it can be frustrating when you are like, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I even doing the right thing? I feel like I'm wasting my time. So I really hope this episode, I hope it's life changing for you. And if it is, please drop me a message and tell me, because I think we might be on a record here, 1 minute, 6 seconds of me. Okay, so yeah, guys, that is it. That is everything you need to know about resistance training. Maybe there's some more and we'll do a second part. But like I said, I hope this has helped. And if it has, please always drop me a message over on Instagram at _em.powered. And even better, leave me a rating on Spotify or on Apple, and then share it into your friends. Put it into your WhatsApp group. I think there's a lot more of us women who need to listen to this and get the basics right. And if you would like to work with Empowered to help you get started through this, even more so, drop us a message. All right, guys, have a good one. Thank you for listening to me waffle. Hope it helped, and I will see you next time. Love you. Bye.